Welcome to You Ought to Watch This Movie, the podcast about movies from the first decade of the 2000s, aka the aughts. Follow along and explore a movie from the aughts, getting unbridled opinions from two millennials. Sit back, relax, and enjoy one of the best decades in movies.
And we return. The prodigal Colin and Miles return to Yadam after an extended break.
Yes, a very extended break.
Our apologies for the extension of the break.
Yeah, it's been about 3 months.
But it was good to reset, recalibrate, and now we are ready to tackle movies that are more enjoyable, or that we think are more enjoyable, based off memories, i.e. this one. So, let's begin.
Okay. So, this week we're reviewing Me, Myself, and Irene. This is your disclaimer that it is rated R for sexual content, crude humor, strong language, and violence.
Crude humor indeed.
And if you haven't seen it, you can pause the podcast now and go watch it and come back. The only streaming service we could find it on was Stars. So other than that, you can rent or purchase it wherever you feel necessary.
Indeed. Yes. So, well, what else you got to start us off
This
with?
movie was released June 23rd, 2000. Mm-hmm. And our first category is the trailer notes.
All right. Do you want to go or should I?
You can go.
All right. My notes start out with a voiceover exclamation mark. Having seen this movie before, the trailer does a good job of telling me the overarching story, while leaving what I remember to be the more memorable scenes out of the trailer. I wonder how my opinion and thoughts will change, given that I'm watching now as an adult instead of with, and this is an Arrested Development reference, my father, which I can now use because she gets it because we've been watching Arrested Development too.
You already told me that joke before, so
I know. But now I can.
Have been totally lost on me.
Wow. So
my notes.
Yes.
My first note from the trailer is there's a voiceover. Also, I said I don't think I will like it, and I said, what will the plot be? Like, the trailer was not telling me anything like, what is the plot? It was just, I don't know. But anyway, and then the pop song that was playing on the trailer was My Own Worst Enemy by Lit, which I feel like was popular at that time, probably.
I couldn't think of who that was, but I always forget about the band Lit.
Yeah. I thought it was Blink 182 who was singing a little bit, because I didn't know.
Are you sure you thought it was Blink 82 or Smash Mouth?
No, Blink 182.
Oh, okay.
I know what Smash Mouth sounds like.
Okay.
It sounded like...
Well, apparently I don't, because I was thinking, is this Smash Mouth?
Oh, okay. Well, it sounded more like the style of Blink 182 to me. All right. So now we move on to actors we know, which to me there were only two. Of course, everybody knows Jim Carrey from something or other.
Quite an array of films, from The Truman Show to
How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
To Me, Myself, and Irene.
Yes, and he will be in another movie for this year later on that we will talk about, which is How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Okay.
That led me to look to see like lots of actors had like 2 movies come out in 2000. They might not have all been filmed in 2000. They could have been filmed in 99, but there were a lot of actors that had 2 movies release. So that was interesting. Okay, the other person that I recognized was Robert Forster, who plays the grandpa Bud in Last Man Standing.
Really? I thought the second person would have been Renee Zellweger.
I don't know who she is.
Well, I
mean, I know the name, but
yeah, I know the name too, but I
didn't know her from anything, so I didn't put her down. But you could say if you knew her.
I have no idea. Yeah, I just know her name from something or another.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that something or another is, but I know her name.
Okay. So, yeah, those are all the actors we knew, I think, unless there was anyone else.
No, as...
Well, one of the kids was played by Anthony Anderson or something.
Possibly.
He looked familiar.
Yeah, a comedian.
Yeah.
And, quite a wide array. And I wanted to side note real quick is we have changed the formula to which we will be selecting movies. So that way we can potentially move quicker throughout. You may notice that, and Colin is like, oh, we should have watched this, is now we've skipped the date as to which Gladiator was released in 2000.
Yeah.
Is like, I'm all for Romans. I'm all for, like history. Yeah, it's just like, for me, the qualifiers are, is this movie something that I would want to see in theaters, A, and B, is it something that I would enjoy watching with Colin? And Gladiator did not pass that test.
Well, see, that was one thing. Originally, we took a short break because we had other projects going on. And then I just kept dragging my feet because I kept getting hung up on Gladiator. Like, oh, I feel like we should watch this because it was a big hit at the
number
box office.
4 of the year, right?
Yeah,
such a big hit.
Well, that is big for like how many movies come out in a year.
Well, in 2000, it's what would you have to do? Go to the mall, go to the arcade, play Dance Dance Revolution. Well, maybe not you, but me,
Well, I went to the mall. I just didn't play.
Oh, this is 2000. No, so that was too early for me playing Dance Dance Revolution.
Well, anyway, I got hung up on that, thinking should we watch it? I feel like we should watch it, but I know I'm not going to enjoy it. Like, there's some things I just know I'm not going to like. That's why we don't do horror movies on here, because I know I'm not going to enjoy that. But anyway, so we watched lots of trailers. We came to this one. I didn't really want to watch this, but Miles did, and so that's kind of a deciding factor as well. If
I remember it being more comical, now that I, think of it, I, realized that, my father, his gauge on whether or not, movies are appropriate for children probably wasn't, like spot on, but whatever, each their own. And yeah.
Well, a lot of it could have gone over your head. Like, that's why.
I don't necessarily think some of the, more, like, I don't know, maybe. Yeah, you're probably right.
I don't know. But anyway, that's a deciding thing. If one of us is strongly, like, for it, we'll watch it just because that's a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
So, on to our comments, I guess, from the movie.
Well, my first comment was narration! ! Which I really enjoyed, the fact that, there were subtle narrations throughout the movie, to keep you on track. And, it seemed interesting.
Yes. And I wrote that at the end, and I looked up the narrator, and we don't know him from anything.
But he sounded familiar.
And I was thinking, what does this remind me of? Because no, it didn't remind me of Arrested Development.
No.
But it reminded me of something else that has been narrated.
Which is?
I don't know. I couldn't figure it out.
But were you able to find who narrated it?
Yeah.
But did you look through their history?
Well, he didn't sound familiar.
Oh, okay.
So no.
Yeah. Well, while you're talking, as I'll go to my next, or while you're looking at that, I'll go to my next comment.
Okay.
This type of movie hasn't been made in decades. And I, can imagine that has a lot to do with the whole, wokeism that's affected Hollywood, because this movie just couldn't be made, there are, stereotypes that are funny, and you can laugh at stereotypes. You can laugh at things,
as long as you're willing to make fun of yourself also, it's fine, I think.
Yeah. But needless to say is I feel like there are so many actors and comedians who would make this kind of content if it weren't for, retaliation or fear of being canceled. As a juxtaposition to, how some people have responded to the inability to make comedy movies like this is now you have movies like that Daily Wire did, What is a Woman? And, it's a comedy, but, it's a sad real life standing on what these people, in positions to quote cancel people think. And then, am I a racist? Which is just the most absurd premise. And I can't watch that because of how cringe it is at the level of Scott's Tots. It's like, what were we watching recently that, it was the Christmas movie. What was that movie?
Our Little Secret. It's a Netflix Christmas.
Oh, Our
movie.
Little Secret. Yeah, a new Netflix Christmas movie
with Lindsay Lohan.
And anyways, she dates this guy, and they're trying to cover it up because now they're engaged to their brother and sister, whatever. And then it culminates in there's a scene where she is in church, supposed to be giving, this, I guess, a Christmas story, whatever, but she's high on gummy bears. And I felt that was just so cringe, and I was like, no, I can't watch it. But then later in the movie, whenever they're at the Christmas Eve, Secret Santa, and all of it's coming unraveled, I'm excited, yeah, this is awesome, because I don't get cringed by truth. I get cringed by stupid realities, where things are just going wrong and you don't have to do them wrong. And that, am I racist mentality? It's just oh, I can't watch it. And Scott's Tots. It's oh, why are you here, Michael?
That's his gauge for cringy is Scott's Tots. It's an episode of The Office.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I found out who the narrator is. Then he hasn't had a lot. He's had 6 credits. So
any
no, he is the son of an
Egyptian.
Oh, he's from the country world. Anyway, his name's Rex Allen Jr.
Okay.
And he's had 6 credits. And
Wow.
so, yeah, not really. There was Me, Myself, and Irene was the last one. The Statler Brothers Show, Ragin' Cajun.
Ragin' Cajun.
Part of Nashville, One Big Family. Premiere, a TV series, and My Brother the Angel.
No, well.
And he was just in 1 episodes of all those TV shows.
Oh, well, yeah.
So, yeah, he's not a well-known person. So I don't know why. It just the style of it reminded me of something else that we've seen, and I just couldn't think of it.
Well, what other notes do you have?
I think my note that encompasses all my other notes is that I felt like Angela Martin watching this movie.
From The Office.
Yeah,
this is so unnecessary.
I just felt like I was a party pooper and I was frowning and judging, or not judging, but looking down on everything, and I didn't enjoy it like at all.
Well, the level of obscenity and crude humor is, pretty up there.
I know, but I was trying to reconcile like this with why, I've kind of, warmed up to Deadpool, who was very, inappropriate. And I don't know what the difference is other than Deadpool has some redeeming qualities, I guess, like the franchise as a whole. I don't know.
Well, also, and Deadpool breaks the fourth wall. Talking about
I enjoyed
the
that
proposal. Deadpool and Wolverine.
So I'm not sure what's up with that, but
What's up with that?
But I thought how I felt about this movie. I keep feeling like some things that I didn't enjoy when I was maybe in high school or college, I might enjoy now because I've grown up a lot. And so I was thinking, well, if I feel like this about this movie, am I going to feel like this about Napoleon Dynamite? Because I was kind of hoping I might.
I don't think, is Napoleon Dynamite is not crude humor. It's a completely separate kind of humor.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't remember. I just know I didn't like it.
Yeah. And there's a level of preposterousness to the entirety of the humor. I mean, you have to suspend disbelief to get through this movie because, it is first off. So the premise of the movie is that this individual, I don't remember the exact diagnosis that it was, but
I didn't say a summary. We missed the summary. It's my fault for putting it at the bottom of the page because I have to do it after we watch the movie.
Oh, well.
Here's a summary.
Here's a summary.
A Rhode Island State Policeman with Dissociative Identity Disorder. Well, I know he said something longer, but that's what it says in this summary online, like the politically correct diagnosis, is tasked with escorting a woman to upstate New York.
Yeah. So this dissociative personality disorder that he has. Identity disorder.
Yeah.
Is he's got this guy Hank inside of him who's this, I guess before he was, betrayed by his wife, and who left him for her lover.
And left the kids behind.
Yeah.
Who were the kids with the lover.
Yeah. And by the way, the lover is black and, Jim Carrey, obviously white. And, so, she gives birth to triplets, but, something just clicks him and he, just accepts them as his. But, the preposterousness of the kids is, okay, if he's raising these children, I really want to know where they got such potty mouths. Like, it's like, because they were dropping MF for this, MF for that.
It's from the TV shows they were watching.
Oh,
the stand-up
right.
comedians.
Yeah, the comedians. Oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah, because then they turned on Richard Pryor and, MF for that. Yeah, okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah. So, I wonder, what kind of statement that is on, what kids watch, but not really. But these were three smart kids. They were all three of them top of their class. Mensa and high IQs, building a freaking airplane. When they're like 11 or something, which is just hilarious. And but the preposterousness of the situations that they find themselves in. You got to suspend disbelief, but. Yeah, nonetheless, some of them are humorous. Some of them, a little more crude than others.
Yeah. One thing that I laughed at was that that Charlie was staying in the Chuck E. Cheese Lodge.
Yeah, the Chuck E. Cheese Lodge.
And we just recently learned that Chuck E. Cheese stands for Charles Entertainment Cheese.
That's so good. Thanks, Jeopardy.
Yeah. But two of my comments that I should say, like that I put down while we were watching, I said, well, I don't know if we should really get into these cringy scenes, but I said this movie's kind of like, it reminds me of Drowning Mona.
Yeah.
I don't know, just the type of people and the town and everything.
I can see that.
And then I said, actually worse, in parentheses, after the milk scene.
Oh, yeah. That was just this preposterous scene. So part of the setup to him having this dissociative identity disorder is, him being, I guess, walked all over and he's in this barber shop and all the guys are like, ooh, look at the, look at the lady or whatever, because she's got,
a low-cut shirt on.
Yeah, low-cut shirt on, sizable breasts. And so then, he's like, oh, well, I'm going to have to, I need you to move your car. And so he's like, all right. And he throws his keys at him and, says, all right, move it. And then he goes to, the store, which is, I guess, like what made him snap is whenever he's in the grocery line and she's like, oh, you mind if I go ahead of you? She's looking at her thinking, okay, she's got like one or two items, but no, she's all right, kids, come on. And they come in like a 2 or 3 carts of, groceries. And that's, when, she snaps and then it proceeds to him having this different personality, him yelling about her Vagisil that she's purchasing in the grocery store microphone for a price check, and then going out to the woman that the barbershop people were talking about, and the baby's actively breastfeeding, and he just swaps spots. And it's like, oh my. And then, he rams the car that he previously moved into the front of the barbershop, and he's got a milk mustache, which... is kudos on Jim Carrey for maintaining the comedy with a milk mustache. Stupid.
And then, which we don't really need to explain the scene. Like, if you want to, I'm sure you can find a clip, but we can if Miles chooses to. I guess I said I really don't like this movie in parentheses after the cow scene.
That was so stupid.
Which Miles was just laughing and telling me, oh, it's not a real cow. Oh, duh. No kidding. It's not a real cow. I still didn't like it.
As for context, if Colin and I, were to hit an animal, I would not, in front of her, put it down, nor would I, because like Mother Nature takes its course, but in this scene, a cow looks to be hit by a car, but he's not dead. And he goes over there to put it down, ends up like pretty much discharging a full clip on this cow right in the head, but it won't die. And then later on, towards the end of the movie, you find out that, she's some prized cow and, she's recovering well. And it's like, how did this cow survive?
Yeah, I don't know. But those are pretty much all of my comments. And I did have to say in my comments, I have a sense of humor. This just isn't it.
Yeah, no, there's nothing, it's like my humor is dark, sadistic, and crude compared to you.
But you also enjoy stuff that I watch.
Oh, yeah, but my range of comedy, it encapsulates as to like where you find, I'm trying to think, is you find a different spectrum of humor funny where I just find like, okay. So, it's like our spectrums of humor are different, and that's okay.
I know that. I know.
That was said, and like one of the preposterous things is the triplet, children are needing to steal a helicopter, and they're sitting in the cockpit, and they're like, oh, the instructions are in German, and the way he explains it, it's just tilt rotation and, whatever it was. And, but then they start going through the instructions in German, and it's just, hilarious. But preceding that scene is, they had, I guess, kidnapped a cop, and, as because he was irritating them or whatnot, or I'm sorry, because he was talking bad about their father, they incorporate their incredible intellect into, just a crude way, to teach an individual a lesson, and sticking a chicken up his butt. And he's like, what's the diameter of a chicken egg? And, he says the exact measurement, and then they start going into this like hyperbole about, specific, things. And then they're like, all right, well, I'm going to bet you on this. Just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But needless to say is we have a new formula for movies, so we will be selecting appropriately.
Well, we kind of already had a new formula. We said, would we watch this in theaters? I was getting hung up on if it was a really big hit, should we watch it anyway? And another movie we skipped was The Patriot, which
I'm all for Revolutionary War history.
Me, well, maybe most people don't know me. I really love that era in history, so it should be a movie I would like. But I was like, nope, too much violence.
Yeah,
probably not going to enjoy it.
You wouldn't enjoy it. I can say that, knowing you and having seen the movie.
Oh, well, now we have to rate it.
Oh, all right. So rating, I am going to go for the pure comedy of it, a B+.
Well, see, I wasn't sure how low we could rate stuff because we've been doing it on like an A through F, and like anything past. This is a movie that 60 would be like an F. So I'm like, well, how low can I rate?
Well, let me
percentage-wise.
All the way to 0.
Oh.
But let me encapsulate why I rate it a B+.
Okay.
Is, if I am to like, because obviously our selection of movies, the formula I'm using is would I watch it with you and would I see it in theaters? All right. I wouldn't necessarily watch it with you, but we did. But I'm a big Jim Carrey fan, so I would want to see it in theaters, and just based on my spectrum of comedy, that's why it gets a rating.
Well, I gave it a 50%.
An F.
Which I think I could have gone lower, but I don't know. This is the lowest rating so far.
That's all right.
And it was because I didn't enjoy it at all. And I felt like there were no redeeming qualities. And I wouldn't recommend it or watch it again.
Well, that's all right. Well, we will be back here in a couple of weeks with another movie. We have some lined up for you. And now that we have a new formula, we're going through trailers very quickly to pick them out so we can watch them in quick succession.
Yes.
And, not just, watch them all at the same time and then record episode back to back to back, like, some schmuck still podcast people do. If they're listening, they're not. Well, until next time.
I'm Colin.
And I'm Miles. And this has been Yadam. Thank you for joining us.
You ought to watch this movie.
Or Yadam. But you're right. Bye.
Thanks for listening to You Ought to Watch This Movie, a podcast about movies from the first decade of the 2000s, aka the aughts. Be sure to subscribe for new episodes covering movies you ought to watch. We'll see you next time.